People are relying on you. You're the one that decided you wanted to build a team. Hey, what's up guys? My name is Steve Holbrook. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am fired up to be here today. Today we are talking about how to build a team. You might be thinking about building a team with your church. You might think about building a team in a volunteer situation, or you might be thinking about how to build a team in your business. Either way, the ingredients and the formula is the same for how to build a team. So just before we get started, please take a minute, like this episode, comment, share it, and give it some love, and I appreciate you so much. Number one, why we're building a team and where we are going. If you want to build a team, there has to be a clear goal, a clear vision, a clear path. I need to know exactly where we are going. If I'm going to hop on board, if I'm going to be a part of the team, it needs to be sold to me clearly, as clear as possible anyway, on where we're headed. And that's the first thing. Why are we doing it and where are we going? Super important. There's a lot of people that are building a team, trying to build an organization. They're recruiting a lot of people. Those people are leaving. Recruiting a lot of people. Those people are leaving. And they're wondering why there's no stickiness. Well, how many of the people that you attract to your organization even know what the game plan is? That's the first thing to be thinking about. Number two is culture. Write that down. Culture. Your house has a culture, right? At my home here, I got 3 kids, my wife. There's a culture in our home. So what's the culture going to be like in your business or your organization? See, there's a certain set of behaviors that are discouraged and encouraged, right, in our household, and there should be some behaviors that are encouraged and discouraged in your team or the organization that you're trying to build. So write it out on paper. I remember before I built my team, I wrote down an entire paragraph of what I wanted my team culture to be. I talked about things like, man, I want my culture to be, one where we have the best trained individuals, where the tightest camaraderie, where we do it right. It's a fun culture. It's competitive. You got to figure out what your culture needs to be. And then I recommend having a set of core values, right? If you really want to build a culture from the beginning, you should have a set of core values. That's one of the things that I wish I would have done. If I could go back to when I first started building my team, I would have instilled core values from the beginning. We have them now, right? I can't believe I went so long without them. But in my opinion, the best way to set a culture is to allow your core values to guide the team, right? Our team, we have 5 core values. I'm not going to go through them, maybe a different episode, right? But our core values help, not just create that culture, but help insulate that culture. And again, culture is extremely important. So you need to decide right now, what kind of a culture do you want on your team? Number 3, accountability. But accountability goes both ways. There needs to be integrity on both sides. See, if you're the leader, there needs to be accountability to your team that you're doing what you need to do. And if you're a follower or you're new to the team or you have a role in that team somewhere, you need to be accountable to the leadership group of that organization or that team both ways. So listen, you need to inspect what you expect. If you expect certain things from people on the team, the only way to make sure those things happen is by inspecting it. You're not babysitting. You're not trying to be their dad. You're not trying to be their mom, right? You're trying to be their leader, right? You want to build a team. And we talked about it going both ways. So the leader and the team, right, need to get together, and there needs to be some accountability because progress has to be measured. And accountability is one of those things that a lot of people try and build these teams, right? They try and build these organizations and they just base it all on love and emotion. And without accountability, really the accountability is, again, one of those adhesives, like another glue, right? That really keeps that team together. So accountability is going to be a key component of all of this, but you have to make sure you have it from the beginning. Again, it's one of those things that if I could go back, I would have done a better job early on of setting some guidelines around accountability. I believe that I'd be further ahead in business today. Number 4, communication. Communication. I could do an entire episode on communication. I love talking about communication. See, teams don't just break down here. A lot of teams never get off the ground. So if you want to get off the ground and you want to thrive, you need open lines of communication. And the way you're going to create open lines of communication with building your team is there needs to be trust within the team. If there's somebody within the team that people don't trust, or if there's a leader that people don't really trust, maybe the leader doesn't have integrity or doesn't show up or is not committed, then there can be trust that can be broken, and then communication lines are closed, and then everything falls apart. I'll tell you something else about communication. When you're building a team, if you're in a leadership role and you're addressing your team, this is the best advice that I had around building a team. You ready? Condemn in private and praise in public. You want to praise your people in public, and you want to condemn them in private. You never condemn somebody publicly. You never roast somebody from stage in a big group or in a big group meeting publicly in front of a whole group of people. If you have something very direct that you need to tell somebody, and it's very personal, or it could be taken as very personal, I should say, never do that in public. You only praise people in public. One of the books you need to read if you're serious about building a team is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. How to Win Friends and Influence People, for me, changed the whole game. If you're serious at all, then you need to get that book. He talks about what condemning people and what criticizing people in public will do to your organization, right? And just remember, when you're communicating with people or you're challenging somebody through communication, are you attacking the performer or are you attacking the performance? Right? It's different. There's a different, feel when you're attacking the performer than when you're attacking the performance. Okay? So just be very careful. You want to keep the lines of communication open. You want to make sure there's trust flowing both ways, right? And if you have something that you need to say that, could come down as condemning somebody, right? Make sure you do that in private, because that'll, again, clog up the communication lines. Number 5, have a scoreboard. Have a scoreboard, right? What's the scores on the doors? You need to let people rise up within that group. You have to create separation from the pack. I don't care if you're running a volunteer army. I don't care if you're running a church. There needs to be an opportunity for people to step up. You are going to bring out the competitive nature of people. And it's not to say that people need to rise up and start competing, head to head and not enjoying each other's company. You want to create a situation where people are competing to rise up in a leadership role, right? People crave, the right kind of people crave a leadership role. They crave influence within that group. Well, what are you doing, right, to challenge people to get better? And if there's a scoreboard, right, you're allowing people to separate themselves from the pack, right? You want people to try and be in the top 20% of the group, right? There's the 80%, there's the 20% of every team. You have to make sure that you give people an opportunity to be part of that 20%, because if you treat everybody equal, again, you're not going to be able to retain people for very long. We're talking about building a real team for now, and one that lasts generations if you do it right. So having a scoreboard, right? In my team, I post my scoreboard twice a day, right? For you, maybe, again, you're running a different style of organization. There might be a different kind of scoreboard, right? Maybe it's in terms of volunteer hours or, commitment in other ways. You have to figure out what works for you. Number 6, create tribes within the pack. You want to create tribes within the pack. So you have this big team, right? And everybody has at least one thing in common. They're all part of that team. And that's great, because our team, all walks of life, right? All different ethnicities, all different cultures. But within that pack, you want to give people the opportunity to find their tribe. On my team, I have a bunch of moms that get together that are super good friends, right? They talk about mom things, right? But they're also part of the larger community, and they found their tribe within the community. So you want to create those opportunities to give people, leadership roles within smaller groups. And it's great because within a team, there's always going to be sub-teams. It's just the way it works. And it's a great opportunity, like I said, to give people a leadership role, right? So you want to allow tribes within the pack. It's amazing for retention on your team, because and I'm going to elaborate on this because I think it's important, right? Not everybody can relate to me as a leader. So if somebody's struggling with something, right, instead of them getting frustrated and quitting, I'd rather them go speak to somebody who they can relate to more, right? for whatever reason, and that's going to help retain them. You don't need to be the king. I don't want to be the king. I want to be the kingmaker, right? And you want to be able to create tribes within the pack. Number 7, groom the next outlet. Groom the next outlet. See, when you're building a team, right, your next leader is your next outlet. When you build somebody else, you're building another outlet. Another outlet, like an energy outlet, an information outlet, right? Somebody else who can cast a vision and sell the dream. It doesn't just rely on you all the time, right? The true sign of a great team is 4, 5, 6 strong leaders on that team, right? Who have all of the information, who know the vision, right? Who are ambassadors for where we are headed. And if you don't have anybody on your team, right, that can do what you do at the level that you do it at, right? You haven't yet been doing your job in building your team. Your job as a leader is to build people that could potentially replace you. And if you're worried about those people actually replacing you, you're thinking way too small, right? You're thinking way too small, or you're in the wrong organization, the wrong model. I probably have a business that you should take a look at. We can chat later about that. But listen, you're grooming your next outlet. You're grooming your next source. Very, very important. And my 8th point, my last point, resell the dream every single day. Resell the dream every single day, and then teach people how to resell the dream every single day. Every single day, you have to remind people where we're going. Where are we going, Steve? Right? Tell me it's going to be worth it. What's it going to be like? How is my life going to change? People are relying on you. You're the one that decided you wanted to build a team. You wanted to build a team. So do you have the vision? And are you casting the vision? Are you communicating the vision? Are you reselling people the dream every single day? Or are you just so caught up in your so-called nightmare, whatever that means, your nightmare, that you don't have time to resell everybody else the dream? And you expect to build a team? Come on, man. That's not how this works. You got to be reselling it every single day. All right, guys. I appreciate you being here. I hope you guys got some value out of today's episode. Please take some time, leave a comment, share this episode, like it, subscribe, give it some love, and I promise you we will continue to bring high quality content. Appreciate you guys. Have a great week.